Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Something people say a lot these days is, how did we get here? People say, oh my gosh, the world is going crazy. And I'm like, it's got here because of your silence. That's how it got here. So if you continue to remain silent, if you continue to play games, if you continue to do and say things you know do not make sense or are not right, where do you think it's going to be in 5 years? Where do you think it's going to be in 10 years? In fact, if you have children, think about the world you want them to inherit. And we've seen many times in history what happens when people go along with things that are wrong and unethical. And so we need to remember and have some humility that we are not so much wiser than everyone who came before us, that we're suddenly immune to all of these mental and cognitive flaws, or that we're immune to groupthink or going along with the herd, or that, cowardice even. I think there's a pandemic of cowardice right now.
A pandemic of cowardice. I would agree with that. I would fully agree with that. I think you would probably fully agree with that. Silence is cowardice. You know, over the last 6 years, but before we go back over the last 6 years, everything that I did was driven by how could I be my brother's keeper? I mean, how could I do whatever was necessary to protect people around me? Now, many times that would land me in court. I would be in court and I would be, we'd have somebody that I played football with that got himself in trouble. And they'd call me and say, Joe, I need help. Or they say, Joe, I need a job. Or Joe, I did this thing. And I'm like, all right, how do I help you? I was never silent. I didn't know how to be silent. If you fast forward to what we dealt with for the last 6 years, and I want to talk specifically about that fateful night, November 6th, 2020, 3 days after the election. I'm still trying to contemplate what just happened on November 3. I didn't know. I mean, it was obvious to me that there were things that were wrong, and they were obvious that they were telling us that things were wrong, and it's obvious that they, back in October and September, were talking about how they could build this story of an insurrection. But they knew they'd get caught. They knew the system wasn't ready to smooth out and make it look like President Trump had lost. They knew that they were going to have to create this chaos. And they knew that they had stolen other elections all the way down from 2018, 16, all the way down, all the way up, 2022, 2024, and again now in 2026. They knew. And on November 6th, though, I had to make a decision. And you remember, silence is cowardice. I believe that silence is I think we all believe that silence is cowardice. And I have an immense amount of skill sets. Immense. Gifts that, I can't even explain, frankly. That dude is a black dude. All right, if you didn't notice, he's black. And it's always you always have the people that come out that are these people that say that I'm like a Jewish, gay, transgender, whatever you want to call it, right? And they always start it with things that you can't attack because they'll use the anti-Semite label on you. And we've created this environment where people can hiss and bark at each other and put stuff in the, at the litter box in the corner, and they'd be furry, and you could be this, and you could be that. And instead of saying, no, you can't do that, go piss off and do whatever you want to do, we're not even going to allow it. Instead of ridiculing what should be ridiculed into the ground, we allow them to ridicule, bully, and do anything they want to normal people that would stand up against it, because cowardice is contagious, just like this radical groupthink social contagion that we have going on in our society, that you can be whatever you want. And they had to go down to the fundamentals, go down to the elementary level in education, because they had to be able to cut off and curb truth. And see, the brain works in such a way that it can recognize truth, period. It just recognizes it. And so the brain then becomes a conflict with what's in front of them, and that leads to mental illness. And if you think that I'm wrong, go read any book about psychology. Matter of fact, in the 1950s, they had all of these different studies where they would go in and put 3 or 4 actors in a room with a person, and they would literally look at something and they're like, please pick out the red box. And you'd have the first person that picked out the blue box, and the second person picked out the blue box, and the third person would get to them, and they'd look around and they'd be like, it's the red box, the second box. And the fourth one would pick out the blue box, and then the fifth one would pick out the blue box. And so then they would start it all over, and everyone would look at this person. And so then the next test was the same thing, only different. Everyone pick out the rectangle. And it'd be a square, a rectangle, a square, and a square. And people would look, first person looked at it and picked out the first square. And the second person picked out the first square. And the third person looked around, the two were looking at him like, what's wrong with you? And so the third person, which is the only one not an actor, picked out the square. It took one round to get that person to basically adhere to the fact that the square was the rectangle and not the rectangle. And the fourth person would be like, it's the square. And they ran through it one more time, just went through just to have them do it. And this time it was the length of a line. Pick out the longest line. And imagine having it so that there's one line that's this much higher than all the others. And the first person picks out the first line that's the shortest. And the second person picks out the shortest line. And the third person looks back over to him and they look at him and do this, and he picks out the shortest line, not the longest. That's where we're at right now. And I just gave you a perfect explanation that the only reason we got here is because we had stolen elections and everyone could see it and they said nothing. So on November 6th, I didn't have a choice. My only choice was this: pick cowardice or pick the truth. Speak up and say what was right. And I had my friend literally tell me, Joe, please, just hand it over to someone else. Let someone else handle it. I think that's why President Trump ran for office. President Trump ran for office because he couldn't sit on the sidelines any longer and watch this institutional rot. And our leaders are not leaders, they're sellouts. These are people that they weren't the smartest guys. They couldn't run the race. They've never won anything, probably didn't play a sport. Literally, they were just the people that they knew could go along to get along. They knew for a fact that, no, I just want to be important. And so it was easy to buy those people. Nancy Pelosi, that's the smartest person in the room? I don't think so. Even Fetterman, you say that he had a wake-up call after his stroke, but he's finally coming around to it because, frankly, he's feeling his own mortality. But if you look at all the other people, they've already sold their souls to the devil. And it keeps rolling. They keep gaslighting. The media keeps lying like there's no tomorrow. Just over and over and over again, just lie. And we're supposed to accept it. And President Trump comes out and said, I'm not accepting it. November 6th was not difficult in making the decision to stand up for what was right. November 6th became a pivotal moment in my life because I knew that I was going to become the epicenter, and I was going to be ridiculed and attacked, and not by just the radical left, but by the apparatus, the CIA apparatus that runs the election systems, runs the people in it, who frankly only care about one thing, and that is, how do I make money and destroy everything that's good in front of me? That's why they're Satanists. That's why they're anti-God. That's why they're a part of this communist regime. It's because they're evil. The groupthink had become, hey, it's so, I can't be a part of that because I'm not talented, or I'm a drug addict, Satanist. So society is going to push me off. So now let's just destroy society. And we think that their power, I'm going to say this. I want to play something for you. This is Kyle the Liar Clark. He hadn't done a hit piece on me lately, so I'm going to put this out. This Kyle Clark works for 9 News. His contract is not getting renewed with 9 News coming in. He knows it. So he knows his days of being a journalist are nearly over. And by the way, if you think that the left is winning, the left is not winning. The left is not winning. Because more and more people like me, I went and danced first. I took a bunch of arrows. I'm continuing to take arrows. And I'm stepping out, but there's more and more people that are waking up to it. And the establishment and the people that want to rip people apart, those people are going to be relegated to getting back to unimportant, insignificant. And they should, because evil should not have a voice in our society. But let's play this. This is Kyle the Liar Clark, Antifa Clark, speaking about Polis going and commuting the sentence for Tina Peters.
Tina Peters will be out of prison soon, thanks to Governor Jared Polis. Despite the governor's claims to the contrary, this is an act of clemency unlike any other in his time in office. Governor Polis knows he gave Tina Peters special treatment. I'll tell you why he knows. Because he took out a paragraph that has appeared in every other one of his commutation letters. Here's a paragraph. It says, quote, "You have taken full accountability for your actions and recognized the mistakes you've made in the past. You are remorseful and ready to advance to a new phase of life. I believe you will be successful upon your release. In short, you have shown that rehabilitation is possible and demonstrate how every offender can use their time in the Department of Corrections." None of that, of course, applies to Tina Peters, who has been famously unremorseful for her crimes, which she takes responsibility for only in that she celebrates what she did, leading a breach of Colorado's voting systems and an unsuccessful search for election rigging. Polis's letter freeing Tina Peters does not include the standard line, "I believe you will be successful upon your release." Polis better hope that she isn't. Because if Tina Peters is successful upon her release in helping President Trump overthrow American elections, that commutation letter is the only thing Jared Polis will ever be remembered for.
Kyle Antifa Clark, directly tied to CIA assets, directly tied to intelligence assets. And I wouldn't have believed it myself. And then I started getting these phone calls again. Remember, we still have, I want to put this fresh in your mind, we still have a sitting judge right now that wants to blow the whistle on Colorado. And what's proof positive that the people in Denver and the Democrats are watching my podcast, which I appreciate. Thank you guys, appreciate you very much. Thanks for elevating my ratings. I do appreciate it. And you do so on my website too, which is kind of awesome. I mean, that's where people go to watch it. We're on Roku now. You can go to Roku. Is that they're trying to go in and tell people and ask questions and snoop around to try and figure out which, they're talking to law clerks and they're talking to the clerk of the court, trying to figure out who this judge is. But he or she has kind of spilled the beans on a lot of different things. And then we have to talk about the previous magistrates, previous judges who sat on the bench that are reiterating the same thing. And this goes back, this is a long-standing problem we've had over the last 10 or 15 years. It's gotten progressively worse. The bench now is completely rotted in Colorado. Getting a fair anything is reliant on whether or not you sit on one side of the political aisle or the other. It literally is a cabal, and they literally are the enforcer of the cartel government that's been created in Colorado. And I think President Trump can see it. I think he knows it. I think he knows that everything about what they are is right in front of us. I think there is going to be something that happens in Colorado, and I think that Kyle Clark will be remembered as the piece of trash that stood in the way of us getting to the bottom of fraudulent elections. Elections, by the way, that led to massive numbers of laws, that increased taxes, took away the rights of Americans here in Colorado and around the country. And all because he wanted to say that Tina Peters somehow was wrong. But he lied. And just as clearly as they could sit here and talk to you, they could sit there and lie. Reminds me of J6 and the judges lying and the police officers lying. He's not the only one, though, that's actually gaslighting and lying. Here's Marshall Cohen from the Communist News Network, CNN. Fact check. Colorado Governor Jared Polis relied on false and misleading claims to justify his decision to release election denier Tina Peters from prison. Number one, Polis repeatedly said that the charges in case have nothing to do with the 2020 election. That's highly misleading. He's right that Peters wasn't charged with trying to subvert the election while it was happening, but trial testimony established that her crimes in 2021 were motivated by Trump's 2020 fraud claims, and that she conspired with Lindell-linked election deniers in hopes of proving the 2020 results were invalid. Polis repeated that Peters was certified Biden won. This is false because Biden did not win her county. Trump won Mesa County 63-35, and that is what Peters certified. She has never publicly acknowledged that Biden won in 2020. Polis' office declared to me that Peters certified the votes for Biden in Mesa County. Polis claimed nothing was compromised in Mesa County elections. This is wrong. It's true that Peters didn't compromise vote tallies. The Colorado's top election official concluded that Peters' antics compromised the election equipment. So the systems were decommissioned and Mesa spent $1 million in taxpayer funds to replace everything. The DA who charged Peters told me she has 100% compromised the equipment. Now this, let me just put something out here for you just so you understand. I think I had a response to that. So here is my response. You're a retard, a truly stupid man. Polis used the fact that two other Democrats charged with the exact same charges. Both Democrat lawmakers were given probation and community service, a gross indication of the two-tier justice system. He stated that she was not charged with election crimes related to the 2020 election, and that would be correct. She only dug into the machines after a 2021 municipal election that was so irregular, she could not help but question the outcome. You liars cannot help yourself but to lie. You lie, you cheat, you gaslight, then repeat. No one believes you. Everyone knows the elections are fraudulent from end to end. The only reason we are in this place is because of fraudulent and evil, and retards like you are selected, not elected. So here's my issue. Here's my issue. Just get to it. The GOP is actually the problem, because every person that I've talked to offline has said, Joe, the elections are fraudulent, but we have to do it slowly. Heritage Foundation first came out and said there's nothing wrong with the elections. In a private meeting, literally at an event, was asked the question, and a friend of mine asked one of the people high up in the Heritage Foundation a simple question. Well, it makes what Joe Oltmann said true then, doesn't it? And he goes, yeah, the elections are fraudulent. He's absolutely right. And then he looked at him as fear was in his eyes. He was being recorded and said, who are you with? Are you a Fed? He said, no, I'm not a Fed. I'm a friend of Joe's, right? And he had a seat at the table. He was in the room. He immediately picked up the phone, called me and said, hey, Joe, you need to know about this. Everyone knows that what you were saying is true. I said, okay, oh yeah, which part? He goes, all of it. And he's not wrong. There's nothing that I have said that I've uncovered or that we've been able to gather other things from other experts that frankly are smarter than me. I mean, Jeff Lemberg at Sandia Labs has been involved in some of the largest construction of systems in the world. You have Draza Smith, Sean Smith. You have the 4 reports that came out of Mesa County. The other report that came out of Maricopa County. Again, over and over and over again, we have all the evidence. You see what voter GA in Georgia had. And now they're trying to lock everything behind a door so that voters can have no access and no transparency. They are literally running away from the American people, and we're letting it happen because we have no courage. And every single time we turn around, the same question is asked. The same question is asked. You know what the question is? It's really simple. How do we get away from this? How do we lie, cheat, and steal and take away the voice of the American people? And we just let it happen. That leads me, before we have our guest, is our guest in? All right. We have a special guest today. It's going to be amazing. That leads me to what's going on in Colorado. So yesterday, this is me airing my dirty laundry of all the stuff happening in Colorado. So if you're paying attention in Colorado, you're going to want to hear this. And since only about 10% of my listeners come from Colorado, not even 10, 4%, 3%, you're going to want to share this. Let's talk about what happened over the last couple of days. Now let's go back in time and look at some certain things. We have a Weld County GOP chair that got arrested on Friday for soliciting a minor. I mean, they should throw the book at him. Frankly, he should face the same thing. I don't look at things from a D or an R or an I. I don't look at it from their political affiliation. I think if you try to piddle a child, you should face the death penalty. Now, whether or not you solicit and you actually did it, if you did it, you should face the death penalty. You solicit, you happen to get a cop. I don't know if you can rehabilitate someone there. I don't know. All I know is that you have no part in the party. But let's talk about the GOP in Colorado. I'm now 60 days in. I have met some of the most amazing people over the last 60 days that are chairs and vice chairs and secretaries and treasurers. I've met some amazing people that have been a part of this party and what's called the CRC, which is the Central Republican Committee. It's about 500 people. It's around the state of Colorado. All 64 counties are represented. You have bonus members and then other people that are voting members that are allowed to vote for who the state chair is. And so I've had conversations with roughly a little over half of those people. And it's difficult because I get on the phone and they want to ask me questions, and then, some people want to meet me for coffee, which I'll do. But imagine spending 45 minutes with 500 people, even 300 people, over a 60-day or 45-day period, what the outcome is. And then you have people that are in the party that have their favorite candidate, right? So here's me, come in, here's the plan, we're going to do all this stuff. And I love business. I love fixing stuff. I love organizations. I love creating opportunity. And I love winning. I love winning. But the Republican Party hasn't won in Colorado in so long, and they're so self-reliant on themselves and selfish in their ambition that we find ourselves playing from behind across the entire state, an anemic party. And with that said, we have counties that have fought back. We have the Republican Party down in Pueblo. It's been blue for 100 years. It's finally red. So what do they do? Well, it doesn't matter what they do because they can't stop fighting with each other in certain areas. And so I'm constantly having to say, when people call me, I can't take a side. And the same thing can be said for politics holistically. If you go out and look at what's happening on the national stage, I have no idea what happened with the Thomas Massie. Actually, look it up, guys, see what happened with that election. I think that's today. But there's a large indication that we can't get along on our side. And if you're evil, it's easy to infiltrate good. And if you're good, it's very difficult to infiltrate evil because you have to do evil things in order to stay around evil. So you either become evil, you have to prove to them that you're willing to be evil. But if you're evil, you can just come in and act like you're good and then do bad things so that you can destroy the party from inside. We have no rules of engagement. We have no standard operating procedure. We don't have any rules inside the party that say you can't act a certain way. So last night, I had a debate that I didn't know about until 4:30 in the afternoon. I didn't know about it. It wasn't on my calendar. I sent something over saying, hey, I think we have something going on Monday. Asked for an email. They said they sent it. Then they didn't send invites to anyone in the CRC. Pissed off a lot of people in the CRC that are voting members. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up in the story is, first of all, I'm waiting for Ivan to get on because I want to bring him in. But there's alignments that happen in the party. There's alignments. We see it now. President Trump's pretty pissed off at Thomas Massie, wants him out of the party. Thomas Massie is an absolutist. He basically just only does what what he thinks is a conservative value. He will not vote against it, period. He's just 100%. He's A+ rating, conservative rating. I think A+, A. Super nice guy, lives off the grid. But he went sideways with President Trump. And then Lauren Boebert went sideways with President Trump. And you can start seeing that there's people that are going sideways with President Trump. And so it makes people go, okay, President Trump is trying to figure out how to save the country from itself. And there are people that are stopping that from happening. Like we're a year and a half in now, almost a year and a half in to his deal. And we're getting ready to go into the midterms, and gas prices at all-time high. We're over in Iran. The radical left has literally, I believe, teamed up with Team Evil inside of the Republican Party that frankly are just betrayers that are taking money from one organization, right? And I'm not saying that some of the stuff that we're doing is not necessary, because it is. You could sell President Trump on a lot of things if it's necessary. Making sure that we don't have the Bank of London and the chaos that's been created to take away opportunities from Americans and make them, get basically a sitting target for Iran that is run by some of the most diabolical people out there. I mean, they kill their own people by droves, and that there's no accountability for. I mean, nobody can fight against it. So President Trump comes in and he beats the bully's brains in, and then he's like, I'm going to reset everything. The Strait of Hormuz, I'm going to reset everything, how we do everything. And is there going to be some short-term pain? Yes, there is. But do I believe that while he's doing that, he should give us what we need? I also believe that. I believe he should give us free and fair elections, get rid of mail-in ballots, and I believe that people like Thune should be held responsible for the fact that they're the ultimate betrayers of history. Because if you don't stop this, this downward spiral can all be traced back to this year. We have the House, we have the Senate. We could have broke the filibuster, we could have passed this, and the Republicans would have been in charge for the next 100 years, and we would have finally been able to take out all of these radicals. But because you have Thune that gets paid by dark money dollars and to keep in power, they can betray the people, betray President Trump, and keep him caught up in this chaos of what's happening in the Middle East right before the incoming election. Two things can be true at the same time. He can have good people out there, and they could be doing some stupid shit. And I don't have to side with stupid shit. But I also don't have to betray people and say, I hate that person. I just have to say what the reality of it is. While we have a fight going on in Colorado where, again, the Republican Party cannot help itself and attacking each other. We are headed towards a primary and one of the most important elections in Colorado history that will either cement the reality of 25, 30, 40% of the top 100 companies in the state of Colorado leaving the state completely. I know that at least 25% of the top 100 are in the process right now of finding a new home outside of Colorado. True story. 25%. And I have a list. This is the top 100. I know for a fact it's actually over 20, but I can say without a fact that 25% is 100% committed to leaving. And we have to turn that around. Because Democrats, Republicans, Independents, if you're just a part of Colorado, you're a slave. You're going to become a part of that system. And so they attacked these people. And somebody called a guy a pedophile. And now we have this frenzy of people picking sides in the Republican Party. And the ultimate goal of this is to destroy the Republican Party. Joe Oltmann's coming in. There's a high probability he will be the state chair. Let's make this as difficult as possible on Joe Oltmann and the Colorado Republicans in order to get to a place where we have accountability. Chaos favors the op, doesn't favor the people. And they're like, okay, so if we can't get Joe, if we threw the kitchen sink out, we said he was a racist, well, that turns out to be bunk. We said he was a homophobe, that's bunk. Then we sent in the ADL with a bunch of radical leftists and said, you can't have this anti-Semite. And then they found out about me, they're like, oh, that's bunk. So what do we have to beat Joe Oltmann? Let's send him some honeypots. Well, that didn't work. Yeah, the honeypot didn't work. Joe, he's been married for 24 years. That didn't work. We tried the attacks. He just keeps plowing through it, kind of like President Trump does. Just plow through it. And so now they said, well, we're just going to burn the Republican Party down, and we're going to have people shoot at each other and call themselves names and pedophile this, and you're a thief this, and you're a drunkard, and you did this, and you did that. And I'm like, I'm done. And then at the debate last night, you had a setup that happened where they let another candidate ask questions inside of a debate and attack me. And then when I went to answer it, Kim Munson, who's the moderator, wouldn't let me answer. She didn't like how I was answering it. So you're not allowed to answer it and go after the person that basically is going after you and saying, this is why you were saying it. No. She just wanted you're only allowed to answer it this way. So the rebuttal rules and all the rules of, no, you're not allowed to do any of that. The Republican Party needs an enema. It needs an enema. I'm just going to be really clear. Colorado is no different than the other 49 states. You got a Republican Party that is filled, if the leaders betray the people, and as somebody said yesterday on the town hall that I did, that we don't trust you. They don't have any reason to trust us because we do nothing but sling mud and attack each other online. I'm more conservative. He's not conservative. He's not a part of us. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. And act like a bunch of children. That's why people like me don't want to be a part of politics. And the only reason I'm a part of it is because it's my story to tell over the last 6 years. And frankly, there's not enough people with enough talent that can get it across the finish line, and we've got to get stuff across the finish line. Not even just for Republicans, but just for average, decent people in the state of Colorado that deserve leadership that, frankly, will allow them to thrive and their kids to thrive. That's it. Ivan's going to come on right now. Is Ivan here? All right. Ivan is going to come on. He's a constitutional lawyer. He's a former SF guy. I think he's SF. Green Beret. He was a Green Beret. He's a great guy. He was a lieutenant colonel, and he was a commander. I mean, he wrestled, I think. He's kind of little, though. He's a little guy. Now I'm just making fun of him just because I know he'll give me shit, too. He's a patriot. He's not afraid to call people out. He's not afraid to get in their face. He's not afraid for the fight. Famously, Ferrone, whatever the guy's name is, the guy that was the Capitol Hill police officer that lied, got caught in the lie. Now the video is proving he's a lie. Ferrone got in his face and made up all this stuff. And so we had him on to kind of talk through that and say, listen, did you ever threaten a man's family? And he would, just so we are clear about who Ivan is. When they have no facts, they just make them up. Oh, you attacked my family. That never happened. But he has been nonstop 6 years at the front, talking about showing up to every meeting. I don't know how he does it, frankly. I got a lot of stuff to do. So he goes to every meeting. He is the first one out there. He's the one that got in Hunter Biden's face and said, look, was it cocaine? he does have every funny soundbite that I've heard that comes out of it. Typically, it is like funny soundbite, AKA Ivan Raiklin. But he's been very consistent. If anybody's been consistent, it's been him. So we're going to ask him some questions. We're going to talk through some things with him related to Thomas Massie and President Trump. Obviously, I wore this shirt today. I don't have to like everything that President Trump does, but frankly, I'm in it to win it. And so I'm going to push hard on that. But let's see what he has to say. Ivan, welcome to the show.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me on, especially today, right? Look, we're wearing different shirts, but we can get along, right?
Did you go change? Did you go change?
No. This is what I've been wearing all day. So I head over to the victory party for Thomas Massie at another hotel just down the road. But I want to start off with, if you let me.
Yeah, you have. Look, listen to me. I will never silence you, and I want to hear what you got to say. That's why I wanted you on.
It's gonna be an uncomfortable topic. I just kind of want to give you a heads up.
For who?
You're gonna hate. You're gonna maybe. There's gonna be some jousting. I want to preface it, right? But I'm doing it in good faith.
Bro, listen to me. You don't have to. I'm never gonna get uncomfortable. You want to know why? People have tried to make me uncomfortable. I won't be uncomfortable. I already know you're gay. Don't do it on my show. Don't tell everyone you're gay on my show. Okay, just don't do that.
Okay.
I'm just kidding, Ivan. Go ahead.
You know what I'm referring to?
Huh?
You know what I'm referring to, right?
What?
So right now, like everybody's talking about infighting, this and that, and there's a thing happening in Colorado for whatever it's worth. I think that the key mission in Colorado, you would agree with me, is the Tina Peters issue, right?
100%.
I think everything else in Colorado should be secondary. And if there's any infighting going on, I mean, you're a man, you're a leader. Consider addressing some of those conflicts that are so secondary.
Everything's secondary to Tina Peters. Everything. But what are you referring to? It's not going to get uncomfortable for me.
You're a fighter, right?
I am.
You're a fighter, and you fight, and sometimes it appears that you take bullets unnecessarily.
That I take bullets unnecessarily?
So I guess there's a defamation lawsuit out there.
Are you talking about for Sharona Bishop?
If you could address that. Yeah.
That see you next Tuesday? Yeah, no. You mean the part about
is
her?
That really necessary to litigate
what? I'll litigate it. Why? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, but is it necessary? I know you can, and I know you probably will, but just consider it.
Consider what?
Addressing it in a better way. That
she can piss all the way off. I mean, I mean, if you want to know my look, if you want to have a conversation about it, I'll have a conversation about it. We can talk about it. But I will not let a hairdresser. That the reason why Tina Peters is in jail is because of the hairdresser, right? Bad decisions that were made to turn off cameras and to do things to use a badge that they never had to do. They didn't have to do any of that. She had full authority. Nobody needed to be authorized to look at that machine. They didn't have to be authorized. They could have just walked in. You could have had Conan Hayes walk in that door, sit down, make a copy of it. She went to her IT department inside of Mesa County and said, "I need you to make a copy of this for me." And they declined. At that point, she's doing an investigation. She could have brought in Mickey Mouse if she wanted, all the way from Disneyland. And with the $20,000 that Mike Lindell paid in order for that to get done, tell me why who wouldn't go?
How does that help with Tina's situation?
What do you mean?
So we agree that Tina Peters is number one priority for Colorado. How does that litigation help Tina?
How does what litigation help you? The Sharona Bishop deal?
Yeah.
What, Ivan, let me explain something to you. And this is not uncomfortable for me. I have taken more arrows over the last 6 years than any other single person, hands down, other than President Trump. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that had people come to my house to try to kill me. I'm the only one that had my wife attacked, my children attacked. I'm the only one that I know of in modern history in the last 6 years that had to hire personal security detail to live in my home. I'm the only one I know that got poisoned and then had Clay Clark say, "Oh, you have to tell everyone you weren't poisoned." Only now to have to go into surgery and have the anthrax that I got because of him removed from my body by using special Da Vinci machines in order to pull down scarring from my kidneys and my liver. I'm the only one. Show me another person that has to go through it, other than Patrick Byrne, who now is sitting in a hospital right now trying to recover for the 120th surgery that he's had in his lifetime. So look, I'm not about this whole life where nobody paid me to do anything. Sharona's been paid very well by Mike Lindell to use Tina Peters' name to go raise money that never ended up going to her lawyers. That's a fact. That's not fiction. That's a fact. And you know how I know that? Because I'm the one that actually built the system that allows for Mike Lindell to actually collect people off of his site for his fund to raise money. And I got to see every paragraph that came across from every email and what it was associated with and how much money it actually generated. That's fact. And although I spent 3 years with Mike Lindell, never got paid $1, took his company public, and then let him borrow money of which he actually never repaid me, that's truth, right? And there's not a single thing that you or anyone else could say I've done that has worked against the interest of the American people. And I have never done anything in the last 6 years that would remotely put me in the same category as someone that has been selfish or selfish in my intentions or anything that I've done for other. Over 900 flights over 6 years. That's reality. Tell me what she did other than get paid by a bunch of people, cooperate with the feds, move down to Texas, interfere with Colorado elections, stand against Tina Peters, and do everything she could in order to benefit from it. Please tell me. And I pay Tina, by the way, every month. I have for 4 years. She's gotten a salary from me, so she wouldn't lose her home, lose anything around her. So what have I done that at any point has benefited me, other than sacrifice and spend millions of dollars helping other people in this race, in this fight, including Tina Peters?
What you just said, has that ever been put out publicly?
No, because I don't put it out publicly.
This is the first time I'm hearing any of this.
That I pay her a salary?
No, just that and the other things that you just mentioned.
Yeah, but you don't know because everyone talks shit about me over because I'm a competent individual and because I'm strong. And if they came to my face to do something to me, I'd throw them around like a fucking rag doll. That's why people don't say anything to me in my face. They just talk shit about me out around everyone else. And that's why I have to have conversation with lawyers. And when I sat on the stand for two days, the only reason that Mike Lindell wasn't found to be malicious in his prosecution for defamation was because I sat on that deal and they said I was credible and I was non-defamatory. Because everything that everyone got sued for was based on what I came forward with against Eric Coomer. And now we have Serbian, we got affidavits from Serbians, we have the Venezuelans, we have all this other stuff. I literally in the tip of the fucking spear, and I have never once come out and said, oh, feel bad for Joe Oltmann. No, I just continue to do my show. I continue to do what's right, give people money, support people, and do what God has led me to be. The same as you. Same as you. And when people call me and say, you can't talk to this person or talk to this person, I stay steady and I go straight down the line. I'm like, okay, I'll do this for you. And then you got people that call, you got some zero in Colorado that calls Laura Logan out of the things that Joe's a bad guy. I was like, Laura, tell me why and she came right to me. This is what was said about you by this clown here. You have government actors all over the country that have done everything to slander me over 6 years. I'm still standing. And never once, Ivan, can you point to anything? I wouldn't even let you buy dinner when we went to dinner. I bought dinner, right? Why? Because I'm a guy that serves and I believe in that I am my brother's keeper and I have stayed that path. I don't have to care what people say about me. What I have to care about is what I do to protect the people around me and to make sure that I serve honorably. The same way you served in the military as a Green Beret commander. Same thing. I leave nobody behind.
All right. No, I just wanted to address that because some people were telling me, don't go on Joe's show and this and that. I said, well, I don't play that way. I like to actually have a conversation because if I don't go on somebody's show, I can't hear the other side of the story or all sides of the story. So I think you just put something out that I never heard of. And I think probably many people have never heard of. And then have to factor that into their decision-making process and assessing what they think about you.
And I will say it over and over and over again. Those people that slander me, they slander me because they know that one, I'm effective, two, I always tell the truth. Not part of the time, not half the time, not a quarter of the time, not 10% of the time, 100% of the time. And you know what? I hurt their feelings. But the reality of it is that I've been in this fight longer and done more than almost anybody else there. Yeah. And so you get phone calls to say, don't go on Joe's show? Oh, that sounds familiar. That sounds really familiar. And I got to put up with this from a slew of people.
And more interested in finding out details that I shouldn't even expend energy and time on. All right, so I think we addressed this. You addressed it. And I tried. I mean, we tried. I got more information, so we're good.
Now, now how do you see it after you got more information?
Why I'm on, I think you want to be honest, because I'm here in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Much more credible and much more. I just want everyone to focus more on, and this is just my thought process. If we have the same end state, it doesn't matter how we get there. Everybody can take their own initiative, but to do like stray going after each other, fratricide, it may not be the right thing. A lot of people are coming after me right now because of, oh, you're supporting Massie, oh, you're supporting Gallerade, oh, or somebody else's. I'm going to just call it the way I see it, based on the information that I have. And if you agree with it, then you're going to agree with them. If you don't agree with me, then bring credible, logical receipts to maybe convince me.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
When you do name calling,
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Have I ever called you and say, don't associate with this person, don't do this, don't go on the show, don't do this, don't do that?
No.
Ever?
I don't do that. I don't do that either.
So what does that tell you about the people that came to you that said, don't go on Joe's show, he's this, he's that, he's this? You've known me for 6 years. Tell me what I've done.
Scrutinize things a little bit further.
Yeah, so tell me what I've done over the last 6 years that would put me in the light that I have done anything to betray my country, the people around me, the people that are actually in this fight.
Tell me not to do that, the people that tell me not to go on your show, I always tell them that you've never wronged me. You've never done anything negative or untoward towards me.
Who have I wronged? I've
never done business with you, but I've always been on your show.
But who have I wronged? Tell me who I've wronged.
I haven't seen anything other than one-sided stories that I don't want to get into those details, but I just wanted to say that there's this out there.
Yeah.
With that said, Joe, now that I got you fired up, okay?
I'm not fired up. I'm actually good. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about the vision of Thomas Massie. And look,
Kentucky, man, it's big.
Yeah.
Kentucky is the way I see it, it's a national referendum on whether or not the grassroots Americans and American citizens have a say in who becomes their elected official, and whether or not the Republican Party is going to continue to go down the path of being controlled by foreign interests that control America's foreign policy. That's the way I see it. I personally don't want Qatari influence in my Republicans or Democrats, members of Congress. I don't want Russian interference and influence. I don't want Ukrainian interference. I don't want Iranian interference. And lastly, I don't want another foreign country interfering through its citizens, such as Israel, Miriam Adelson, and dictating foreign policy and funding and buying our congressional seats. That to me is a thing. Okay. Secondly, I think maybe more importantly for those that want to stay loyal and completely blindedly loyal to President Trump, the other guy that's running, the opponent, the warm body from Central Casting, quote unquote. I've seen some of his interviews. I tried to engage with him yesterday. Actually, I was at the Pete Hegseth event that was with Massie's opponent. About 60 people showed up, maybe. And I spoke with some of the individuals in the crowd. In fact, I think either his campaign advisor or campaign manager. I know him from years ago, from the Trump 2020 campaign. That's a side note. When I tried to engage with, I call him at this point special ed, and it's because he's not able to articulate a phrase, let alone a sentence, without losing his cool. Okay?
Yeah.
And even when he's calm, cool, he won't take a question. He won't debate Thomas Massie. So, okay, that's fine. I want somebody that can articulate their own thoughts, and when there's a Democrat that comes their way, they can actually shut them down in a way that will convince others that they're in the right. What is convincing someone on policy? If you're not able to even convince or have a forum, or not a debate, like a friendly discussion, a cordial forum with the person you're running against, how do I know you're going to be able to go into political combat with a Nancy Pelosi, with a Hakeem Jeffries, with name the Democrat? And so I think that's a bigger picture. If you disagree with me on, you know what, you want to put Israel first, or you want to put Israel tied for first with America, I think the bigger issue than that for those people is this guy can't even defend any policy position. So then how is he going to represent not only Kentuckians, but the rest of Americans in fighting against the Democrats with such a small majority? I think that was a key point yesterday. I mean, I'm a Kentucky colonel. I was bestowed the title of a Kentucky colonel from the last Republican governor in Kentucky in 2017, Matt Bevin. At his residence, I posted the video where that actually occurs at the governor's mansion. And I feel as though, as a veteran of 25 years, also a special operator, Green Beret, people should expect that a Navy SEAL, purportedly working for SEAL Team 6, should have the moral, intestinal courage, fortitude, and ability to articulate his thoughts against someone.
Hey, Ivan, are you
for
on?
his handlers to completely encircle him?
We just lost a certain segment. You said that's a Navy.
What's that?
That's a Navy SEAL, and then you went you shot over a little.
Yeah. So this guy is a Navy SEAL, 25 years, and he can't professionally, calmly, coolly shake my hand, look me in the eyes, and let me ask a question, and for him to explain his policy positions to defend them.
Okay,
he is in no position to defend them because he doesn't do it. So we talked about iron sharpening iron. He won't even sharpen a dull brain, like his dull brain. So
I just want to use as against that. Did I shy away from any question you could have asked me?
No, when it comes to you, you're always public, transparent, in the limelight, constantly in the conversation. That's like same thing with Thomas Massie, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest reasons why AIPAC and RJC and Miriam Adelson and Paul Singer and John, forgot his last name, Paulson,
Paulson.
the $3 billion donors donating to Massie's opponent, have to spend so much money is because this guy can't articulate a thought. If it was a credible, viable candidate that can be, you know, a pro-Israel guy and articulate his thoughts and positions on other issues, then they would have probably only had to spend a few $1 million with the Trump endorsement to pull off the victory. But because it's so evident that all the marbles are being thrown in this race, the litany of truth posts, like dozens and dozens, the videos by President Trump, the sending Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to violate the Hatch Act, along with every person that flew with Secretary Hegseth, violating the Hatch Act, basically violating rules, laws, procedures, norms, to coerce Kentuckians into voting for somebody that barely can say a sentence. Everyone sees it for what it is, and more and more people are repulsed by it.
All right, so why is it that Massie went sideways with President Trump? Why where did the rubber start to not meet the road?
So I view it as the president went sideways with his campaign promises. That's how I see it. And I can go down the list. Let's go down that list. Not all. Remember, he campaigned on all J6ers were going to get pardoned?
Yeah.
That never happened. You still have 12 that are commuted veterans that can't get their veterans benefits back.
Well, Joe Biggs got all of his back, so it's now 11. Because Joe Biggs, they dropped the case against Joe Biggs and actually restored.
They haven't done that yet. He prematurely celebrated.
So you're saying it's just like the Steve Friend? So this is just like the Steve Friend deal and the FBI whistleblowers, where they set a deal, signed the deal.
Just like the General Flynn situation, where the government moved to dismiss the case, and the judges have not ruled on that dismissal. So it hasn't been dismissed. They still haven't been dismissed. We're still in this posture, and I think the judges are probably waiting on this November election for the Democrats to win, and they're just going to sit on it, and they're going to rule against dismissing the case, and it's going to have to be litigated, and they're going to continue to protect the deep state. That's kind of my opinion on what's going to take place.
How can the prosecutor?
So that's a campaign.
How can the prosecutor? Let's work this problem real quick. How can the prosecutor, if you're in control of the pushing of something forward in the best interest of justice, we want to drop this case, and here are the reasons why.
Yeah.
Right? How does a judge overrule the prosecutor when the judge's job is basically to be a
I got it. This already occurred in the General Flynn case. So here's what happened to General Flynn, and Jocelyn Ballantyne was the one. Jocelyn Ballantyne was the same one prosecuting General Flynn as the same one prosecuting the Proud Boys, for example. Okay.
Yes.
The judge sat on it because the judge has to actually file a motion in order to agree to both parties dismissing the case. The judge just sits there and doesn't do it. And what did Judge Sullivan do in the General Flynn case? He had somebody else file an amicus brief to argue why he shouldn't dismiss the case, and then argue it before the appeals court. And then when the appeals court told him that he had to dismiss the case, he sat on it until the election, so that at that point in time, President Trump gave General Flynn a pardon of innocence. That's how they play. They play for keeps. The Democrats play for keeps. The Republicans sit ducks in a corner.
Well, no. The Republicans are basically controlled opposition, right? I mean, you have Thune that wouldn't pass the SAVE Act because he wouldn't push the filibuster even when he had the votes.
So meanwhile, President Trump is so focused on Massie. How about he spend a little bit of time to go after Thune? And in fact, why doesn't he sit down with J.D. Vance and say, hey, J.D., last I checked, the Senate Majority Leader is not a constitutional position. The president of the Senate is, J.D. Why don't you go over there to the Senate, camp out, take control of the rostrum, and basically direct the entire Republican majority and say, you know what? If you don't change the 60 vote, what do you call it? Filibuster in the Senate. Yeah. And if you don't confirm every single one of these ambassadors, U.S. attorneys
that are left, 113 right now,
by President Trump, then nothing happens. They're not playing hardball. They don't even know the constitutional process. JD doesn't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's the adults in the room are not being listened to, okay? And so that's where we're at, because they're being controlled and handled by other interests. The neocons are just basically taking over, right? So when you ask me the question, when did President Trump cross us? It started from day one with the non-full pardons. It started with not going and seizing Tina Peters. It started with when he started to endorse after September 10th, when Charlie Kirk was murked. October 10th, President Trump took yet another jab, booster. And then after that, he started to endorse Democrats. He endorsed Andrew Cuomo to be the mayor of New York. He invited Albert Bourla twice to the White House to promote FISA, to continue with the
We lost you there for a minute.
election high 2020, patting them on the back for the censorship regime. Those are just a few examples.
Well, we missed all your examples because you broke up. I think somebody's trying to interfere with our ability to talk here. So let's. Is there any sort of
censorship, baby, is real.
Yeah, no, it is real, and people are mad at you.
All the people that President Trump invited in the White House and endorsed are completely anathema to what we voted for him. I didn't vote for him to make sure that Ballard Partners makes payroll. I didn't vote for him to endorse Democrat COVID criminal Andrew Cuomo to be the mayor of New York in order to usher in communist Muslim Mamdani, right? I didn't vote for that.
You think that
I didn't vote for him to bring in Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla.
Well, let me ask you this question. I think this is probably a bigger question related to that. You think there is any reconciliation between Massie and President Trump?
Massie is the bigger man, much more classy than you or I. No offense. He said on multiple occasions. I think, based on what happened today, I think the Trump world is already conceding this, because Fox News allowed Massie to be on the show today, and with the Trump endorsement of Ken Paxton, I think they see the writing on the wall that Massie's going to win. It's just a matter of if it's going to be close or a blowout at this point, and they're trying to move on. And I think if President Trump gives Massie a call, I'd expect him just to, in a man-to-man professional demeanor and tone. He's already said this earlier today, that I can work for President Trump. And he said that he supported Trump on 90% of the votes.
All right, so let me just talk about.
It's a different situation than what we saw with Cassidy in Louisiana. It's a different situation from all these other races. He's an incumbent for years that's gotten a lot of votes. So I think,
all right. By
putting in all of his cards and chips, President Trump has lost, I think, massively by getting so involved.
All right, so I have to put this out there. One of Massie's biggest supporters is in fact Jeffrey Yes, right?
I don't know anything about the dude.
Well,
I don't associate, or anything. I mean, you gotta have whatever you're gonna ask. You're gonna have to ask him. I laid out the reasons why I support Massie.
Well, I support Massie.
And so you can't associate it with somebody else and their reasons for supporting Massie.
But the problem is that there's this fight over the fact that AIPAC or Jews are fighting over it, and that AIPAC has this grip. I mean, Jeffrey Yass is Jewish. I mean, he's an ethical, billionaire. I mean, I'll just say that, but it's.
To me, religion is a component of the First Amendment.
Then why is it? Look, and I don't like AIPAC. I don't like AIPAC at all. Then why is it so bad that AIPAC is actually putting money into American elections, right? If religion is if it's truly that way, and I'm asking this as a rhetorical question a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm pushing back on
rhetorical. It's a good question, because many people cannot distinguish that Israel is a country, okay? Qatar is a country. Russia is a country. There's 192 other countries out there. I don't want any of those countries meddling and interfering in what the American Constitution lays out as where the political power should be, and thus the foreign policy making decision process. Right now, there's an overwhelming and extreme influence by foreign citizens into our electoral system. So I want everybody that takes in foreign money to register as a foreign agent or sub-agent. So, I mean, we went from a belligerent, illegitimate America 6 Biden criminal syndicate after, because they were basically, first and foremost, they were also part of the Israel first, Ukraine first, some of them CCP first. So that's 3. They're family mutilation first, self-mutilation first, and then America. So that's 6th, America 6th. The Democrats are America 6th. The Republicans we're seeing are America, depending on what Republican it is, it's from America first to America tied for first or America second. And you're seeing a civil war going on right now with national referendum going on here today in Kentucky on whether or not this Republican Party is going to remain America second, or there's now going to be a continued upgrade for Americans first. Okay? Notice I didn't say Christian. I didn't say Muslim. I didn't say Jew. I said countries. Make sense?
Yeah. 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 So, I mean, this is where we get to people picking sides, right? And even on the Republican side, it's like 6 different sides. It's like a big, hexagon, 8 different sides, right? So, and it's 8 different sides.
You got a Ukraine first Republican, like Bacon in Nebraska. That guy's like Ukraine first, China second, Israel third, and then America fourth. So that's like 1 Republican. But most of them are not as bad as he is.
All right, so most are not as bad. Look, we don't have free and fair elections. We don't even have a media that is free and fair. You got called and told, don't come on Joe Oltmann's show, right? I mean, I like Thomas Massie. And I wake up one day, I lift my head up, and President Trump's like, screw Thomas Massie. And I'm thinking to myself, shit.
Yeah, because the reason why he did that, Joe, I don't know how close you're watching this, Miriam Adelson dropped $250,000 into Trump. So after she was able to, through Susie Wiles, remove Elon Musk, and then after Charlie Kirk was murdered, then you have a power vacuum in the White House. And that's when the 180 flip happened, right after Charlie Kirk's murder, because you now no longer have anyone representing the interests of the grassroots, the Twitter community, the Twitter discussion, and the America First crowd. And instead you have Miriam Adelson. If you look up Miriam Adelson's public statements and everything that you can find on her publicly, the only cause she is concerned about and has given public speeches about are what? Israeli causes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look,
that's
the ADL,
foreign policy.
The ADL, the Anti-Defamation League.
Last thing real quick. According to Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and Speaker Mike Johnson, this Iranian war was started because of Israel. This is their words, not mine. Okay,
so let's say that's true. Let's say it's true. It's a proxy war. We had another proxy war.
No, I'm just quoting them. It's true that they said it. Whether that's the case or not, I don't.
So they probably believe it.
64-dimensional chess.
No, that's not 64
level chess. God level chess.
I don't think there's such thing as God level chess. All right, but hold on a second. Let's back up for a second.
You get my sarcasm.
I do, but that my point is that, look, if let's just hypothetically say you got President Trump having 20 people in his ear, and 10 of those people, they get it, right? People that get it don't like to get in the fray. So they'll let the other 10 thinking that President Trump is already going to figure this out. But we talked about before you got on this idea of putting this social contagion in a room, and you have 5 people, 4 actors, one's a real person, and they're like, pick out the square or the rectangle, and it's like square, rectangle, square, square. And the first person who's an actor says that the rectangle is the first one, square. The second one looks and says square. The third one, who's a real person, not an actor, you know what I mean? So we're there, right? We're at that place right now.
Yeah, I got it.
We're at that place right now where we're trying to make sense of everything in front of us.
Yeah, because now there's even more AI. There's more BS information. And matter of fact, at the polling place, one of the people was like, "Hey, I voted for the other guy. I voted against Massie because I saw an ad how Thomas Massie was in a throuple with AOC and Ilhan. Meanwhile, it's like a total BS AI ad. They bought it."
Did you say throuple? Did you say throuple? Did you actually say that out loud? Oh my gosh, what is it? I haven't seen this. What am I missing? Is this Thomas Massie doing bare ass? Did they do that? Was it that, or
No,
was it
this
like
is
some shady
It's
video?
total AI video footage. But some people just don't know like how effective AI is, and so they think it's a real ad that with like real video coverage.
Because people are
Should be
stupid.
illegal.
Yeah, you should have to take an IQ test. You have to be over 95 to vote. Can we do that? Make that like the
That would wipe out a lot of voters.
Hey, well, we wouldn't have these problems. We wouldn't have people thinking they're kitty cats and furries and, cutting off wieners and grooming kids.
I went on Jake Tapper yesterday. I actually mobbed them right at the end of Thomas. By the way, Pete Hegseth drew like 60 people. Massie's getting at a minimum, like in these small towns, 150 people, like on his own, 200, 300. But anyway, at one of his events at the Veterans Park, can't remember the name of the town yesterday, we went, CNN was set up, and the reporter was standing there, and I went up there, and I said, hey, I want to introduce you to the most low IQ person ever in the history in America, because he was wearing the low IQ hat. And I guess it was during Tapper's show, so I got to see if I can crop that out. The producer was like, hey, we're live. And I said, great. I obviously know that, and so are we. So we're going to do this a double live thing. Like, why should I yield to you? Like, we're peers here. I'm an independent broadcaster. Probably get more views on me watching paint dry than you're getting, but whatever. So,
well, it's funny
anyhow,
you say that.
Speaking of low IQ,
I get millions of people that watch my podcast. I have millions of people that watch my podcast.
No, not you. I'm talking about CNN. I'm referring to the CNN guy.
What I'm saying is that
you get more views when you're just taking a nap
live
than CNN does.
But what's funny is that people are starting to step away from all the socials, just go to my website. So you got millions of people that go to my website to watch the show, and then they're gravitating towards the ones that are less likely to censor them. So like Spotify is going through the roof, Apple Podcasts going through the roof, Roku. We just actually went on.
This is a referendum on two things. One is the Republican Party going to remain America second, or are we going to upgrade to Americans first? And number two, does Fox News control the Republican Party, or does the independent social media, particularly X, now the power center for information within the Republican Party? That's really the two referendums that are taking place today.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that right now there's a large. Whoop! We lost him.
I'm here.
Oh, what happened, guys? I do know that there's a huge amount of support for Thomas Massie across the country. I also know that there's opportunity in chaos, right? So could we be dealing with this idea that Thomas Massie and President Trump and everyone else, like there's this break that's happening? Because, I mean, Matt Gaetz was there interviewing Thomas Massie too, and he's a loyalist to President Trump. So what you can see this kind of, this rub being created, but there's almost like this diamond coming out of the middle of it. If President Trump, and just I'm going to predict this, if President Trump comes back in and decides I'm going to connect with Thomas Massie and make the phone call to him and break bread and say, okay, we need to work together, is that an indication that President Trump is seeing that the American people are seeing that these promises haven't been made yet? Because I want everybody arrested at the Dominion voting system. I want people to actually tried for treason. You know how I feel about it.
Yeah, nailed it. Just hey, I gotta.
What'd you say? Okay, well, there's some questions that I wanted to ask him that are fundamental to this, and that is the government surveillance and freedom of speech, the influence of Israel and foreign lobbying in Washington, and whether or not is this perceived or is it real? Let me know when he's back on, by the way. Just ping me when he gets back on. We lost his video. And what's really weird is that every time Ivan comes on, the same thing happens. The video goes crazy. And then on the foreign aid and American first sovereignty, there's a lot of things that Massie talks about. And he believes that we should be America first. Now, is he an absolutist? Yes. I mean, nobody could look at it and think that Thomas Massie is not an absolutist. He's like, listen, here's the litmus test. Is it good for the people? And is it good for the country? Okay, if it's not good for those two people, synonymously, I'm not going to vote for it. The other side is, you got Thune saying, I don't believe that there's election fraud that rises to the level that it's actually all that important, but he's also sitting in office. And so if if you change the system and you hand back the reins to the people of this massive election fraud that's been, leaned through through these different mechanisms, does he get elected? Does he get elected? Do any of these people get elected? And I have to ask you the question. The only thing that people in Washington, including most on the right, by the way, see, the people on the left are just crazy. The Democrat Socialists of America has laundered enough money that it's become very successful for them. And by the way, Stuart, that's on there listening right now, I did ask the question because I think that it's a fundamental question over on YouTube. It's one of the questions that I was wondering about as well. Is this kind of a shell game for us saying that we should oppose AIPAC? Well, if you are for religious freedom and you are for the fact that people should represent each other, I think Christians do a horrible job of this. I don't think we have a good lobbyist group for Christians, right? We got a bunch of Christians that run around and tell you to turn the other cheek and stay inside of the church, and they swallow up all the assets and then give out crumbs to poor people. And we're really good at helping people and we're really good at seeing what's out there, but we don't, or for the most part, over 60% of Christians don't vote. I mean, just so we're clear, it's a big percentage. And so you have Muslims, and look, don't get mad at me and say, oh my gosh, you're being pro AIPAC. No, I'm saying is that if you what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you don't want AIPAC involved and they're representing a group of people, but you as Christians are terrible at it. Like the Second Amendment, let's talk about the Second Amendment. AIPAC is like all Jew. And then you have the radical ADL and you have the Jewish Coalition. They decided to come together and they decided to build something powerful. But here's what happens on the Christian side, Catholic side, right? We don't know how to do that. We don't know how to do it. And so you're mad at a group of people. And I had this conversation the other day with a friend that said, well, Joe, are you making a 180? Absolutely not. I'm making a 180. I'm not making a 180. I don't want to be in foreign wars. I want to respect the sovereignty of different nations. I want CIA to stop being club evil. I want to stop throwing scraps to people and let low IQ individuals consume entire countries, including the United States and most of Europe. I want to stop it. And by the way, the poster child for the things that are good happening to our country or to countries would be Poland. Or I didn't say it. Or Russia. I mean, look at what Russia's been able to do, right? They're not low IQ people. These are very, very smart people. And you could say, well, they're shrewd. No. They believe in Russia first. They believe in respecting and protecting the sovereignty of their nation. And they can see even a small bleed when NATO blue hats are put on the corners of their shores or their border, that I should do something about this. In the United States, we do nothing. We actually do apologetics. We create an environment where white guilt starts setting in, or we want to attack Jews. And what I'm saying is this: if we want to say that AIPAC is the big bad wolf, why is there not a Christian pack? Why not? I'll tell you why. Because you don't have strong leadership, because culturally, Christians have found themselves dividing themselves along political lines. And churches want to be able to fill that coffer, right? They want money to come in. So if you build something, this is one of the things that makes me the most dangerous person in the Republican Party running for state chair. I'll fix all of it. I'm going to have lobbyists at the state capitol by the droves. Young people are going to they're thirsty, man. They want to protect opportunity, put in trade schools, eliminate deserts. I mean, I've got all sorts of things that I want to get done. And these guys on both sides, you have ADL coming out saying, we can't let Oltmann fix the Republican Party. You can't let the radical left, oh my gosh, the radical left is like this guy. Well, what happened? Well, you got this guy Oltmann that can come in and fix it. He can't fix it. We're going to lose the House, lose the Senate. He's going to go talk to the Democrats that we've been basically suckering for decades into voting against their interests and voting for us so that we can betray them, while telling them it's all those Republicans over there in Highlands Ranch. Those are your problem. Oh my gosh, it happens everywhere. Everywhere. And how do I know that to be a fact? How do I know? Because you can see it. So if Christians want to do something different, than what AIPAC is doing. They got to find a way to get billionaires to that are Christian, say they're Christian, and multimillionaires, and even people that I call static donors, the ability that have the haves that have the ability to donate $100, $200, $500, that are willing to build some cohesion around an idea that if we can actually build consolidation among Christians, man, we could accomplish quite a few things. But as you're seeing all over the place, I mean, he just brought it up. People told Ivan Raiklin not to come on the show. They told him that. You can't go on the show with Joe Oltmann. I'm curious. I'm curious. And I answered the question, and I told everyone exactly what I've done. Do you think he heard that? No. No. Now, do you think I feel like I've been used for the last 6 years? I do. You think that I've been tattooed and I've gone through, and it doesn't even care about me. I don't care about me. You think I picked the phone up and called President Trump and said, hey, you probably need to know the truth, and I know that there are people in his little circle that literally have told him, I had to stay away from Joe, stay away from Joe? Yeah, because it started all the way back in 2021 with Mark Meadows telling him not to meet with me. January of 2021, true story. Blocked me from going in, attacked my company, made it impossible. I flew home. I had to go take care of the thing where they were trying to steal millions of dollars from my company, bankrupt it and shut it down from the inside. That happened. And because I was smart enough to make the decision to come back, I was able to save it. Only to have to sacrifice for 6 years to have this happen. I'm not pro AIPAC. But if you got a widget to sell and you have the ability to support candidates, don't make it so hard that the only place they can get money is through AIPAC. You've starved it out. And let me put it in a different perspective. I'm currently building a coalition IEC, Independent Expenditure Committee. I'm like getting people recruiting in and saying, we need this IEC. And we got to start putting out America's messages. I'm going through this process. And so I pick up the phone and call my friend, and I was like, send me some money. He's like, okay, done. I called my other friend, and I was like, I need some more money. Send me some money. Boom. He sends it. Boom. And I'm having conversations with people about what the ideas are in order to save our state by building a coalition where we can actually start talking to the people and make it so that they can understand what truth is. I get a phone call from two guys, and they're like, Joe, we already have this deal, and this interferes with our ability to get money from these people, and, and we need you to shut it down. Why? Why? Why am I being told to shut stuff down? Why am I being told that I can't actually fight for the people in my community and in the state and the country? Why are people calling Ivan Raiklin telling him, don't go on Joe's show? And look, he made some good points. But it's not like you don't have the friends of my friends or my enemies of my friends and you have money that's switching hands. I'm not pro AIPAC. But what I am saying this is there's a lot of influence to go along, and AIPAC is just one little piece of it. Are they funneling money through it? Yes. But let's look at the other things that come through these funnels of people controlling the levers of power. And a lot of times they do it by saying the only place you can get money. So you have 40 other people that have money. Let's say 40 other people, let's say, are billionaires, right? And they're not AIPAC people. AIPAC walks over and says, hey, don't give them any money. So they have to take my money. Now they're all in and out together. It doesn't matter where the power is yielded. It doesn't matter who holds the power. It all gets steered to do exactly the biddings of the people that want the biddings to be done. It's never been in recent history. It hasn't been of the people, for the people, by the people, and it's not AIPAC that's the problem. It's the fact that you have this collusion, this cartel government, these people that are working together in order to, raise your taxes so you're paying 56 cents on every dollar. Everyone is fatigued. You could be living in a $3 million house, you're fatigued because they are trying to take everything you have all the time. Setting you new tax bills and take this and do that and put up cameras. And I mean, the spider web to catch the American people off guard is absolutely fun. It's so big. They find a way to take from you. I guarantee you. So the whole thing with Massie, I hope the thing with Massie works itself out. Massie talks about things that are fundamental to all of you, but I also believe those same things are fundamental to President Trump. But when you have so many people in there that are screaming fire, 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 he's got to figure out what his priorities are. And it's a very unpopular job to have. And frankly, if the Republicans are standing against, let me just put it this way. Thomas Massie is, let's say the Republicans right now, Thune and everyone else is doing exactly what was done to Ivan Raiklin. Hey, do you want to talk about it? It's going to have to get uncomfortable. It's not going to get uncomfortable for me. And did it get comfortable for me? I'm not upset at all. I anticipated it. But what if the same thing can be true right now? What if the real betrayers are the ones that are walking and getting in President Trump's ear, like Thune, Mike Johnson? Hey, Mr. President, we're here to have you. I saw a video today that I thought was interesting, and it said 3 things are true, right? And the first thing it said is that your greatest hater is not a stranger. Your greatest hater is not a stranger. So when you have people that are President Trump's ears, and you have Mike Johnson and you have Thune and you have all these people underneath it, and they're getting together with people like Hakeem Jeffries and they're like, hey, the American people are pretty stupid. But we have a threat here. We have Thomas Massie. This guy he's getting some steam. We got to go to President Trump and tell him that Thomas Massie is against him. Thomas Massie has walked the line. He said, I don't agree with President Trump here. And he should be able to disagree with President Trump. We've disagreed with President Trump. But the reality of it is he's the commander-in-chief. You should be doing things to align yourself with the commander-in-chief. But then all these other people are doing this in the ear. And pretty soon it gets pretty uncomfortable for President Trump. And then he's like, yeah, you know what? Then Thomas Massie says something, soundbite is sent to President Trump, and all of a sudden he's like, Thomas Massie's a bad guy, we need to find someone to run against him. And what makes it worse is then Lauren Boebert goes out there. And I don't agree with everything Lauren Boebert says, especially so the fact that she had nothing to do with Tina Peters being pardoned. Nothing. Nothing. But she stands up there and she gets on these shows and acts as if she was the savior. That she's the one that caused Tina Peters to get out of jail. It's not true. But what's true and what's not true? And the whole time, by the way, that all of this stuff is happening, you have this group that pops out of nowhere and says, I'm going to go raise money for Tina Peters. And I'm like, okay, I'll participate. Because history is written by the victors. And in this case, who's the victor? It certainly isn't Tina Peters. So let me make a prediction of what's going to happen. Tina Peters is going to get out of jail, and she's literally going to go off grid. That's part of the deal. Go off grid. And it's going to be a fight to get her back in the fight, because being in jail for 2 years takes its toll on you. And in the middle of all that, she has to feel a certain sense of abandonment, because nobody came for her. It took a Democrat pardoning her to get her out. Imagine that. It took a Democrat not pardoning her, commuting her sentence. It took Jared Polis commuting her sentence to get her out. I want to point out that nothing has been done about the mail-in ballots. Nothing has been done about the machines. We have all the evidence in the world, and the rotted judiciary and all of these people, it's designed to destroy the American people. And Tina Peters got her reprieve from a Democrat. That's a lot to take in, isn't it? Like, who's looking after Tina Peters? And you had Ivan Raiklin that said that the Marshal Service was ready to go get Tina. But Todd Blanche, who's supposedly on our side, fresh, we'll call him a newbie Republican, he doesn't give a shit about Tina. She's just an old lady. You got everybody out there raising money, doing stuff, and this, by the way, will be the next thing that I talk about. I'm gonna go to a break. We probably having trouble getting on Raiklin. He said his piece. I hope Massie does win. The devil I know is better than the devil I don't know. And I do hope that President Trump and Thomas Massie have some sort of reconciliation that happens. And I do hope that this leads to the broader idea that people are concerned that the things that he promised haven't gotten done. And that there are people holding back levers inside the White House because it's complicated so things don't get done. And only when President Trump himself moves the boulder do things actually get done swiftly and expeditiously. And look, I don't have all the pieces or parts, but it'd be hard pressed to see anything that's happening right now that favors the American people. So the next part will be, do you feel used? We're going to talk about that a little bit, but we're going to take a commercial break first. We'll be right back.
Oh, hi, I almost didn't see you there. Welcome to DCF Buns, where you can find the freshest buns in town, if I do say so myself. Oh, our master bakers teach class every week, so whether you're new to baking or trying to improve your culinary skills, we got you covered. And we can help you bake the cake of your dreams. We'll even clean your cake if you want. And if you don't want to bake anything yourself, we have loads of fresh buns available in a variety of shapes and sizes. Check us out at dcfbuns.com to learn more. DCF Buns, we keep the buns hot and the deals hotter. Buns.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
I just secretly infiltrated and recorded another live leftist meeting, and you're not going to believe what I heard.
I feel like we really need to just figure out a way to take masculinity as it exists today apart and to reveal just how violent it is, not just to others, but to oneself, and how self-mutilating it is to be socialized as a man in our society. I think there's a lot of really cool avant-garde stuff going on around gender right now. The needle is moving culturally. I feel like the pushback against trans people in the last 5 years, this horrible thing that a lot of people have had to endure, is actually a barometer of the successes that have been made in destabilizing traditional gender roles, normalizing gender nonconformity. And I think that's fucking rad. Like, I wish so many of my friends didn't have to suffer as a result of it, and it sucks. But that's the result of real victories that are being waged by people challenging gender socialization. And I mean, if anybody has any real practical proposals, I'm all ears. But that's where I'm at theoretically.
This meeting was conducted today, April 26, 2026, at Firestorm Books in North Carolina, which is a queer, anarchist, Antifa bookstore with two Antifa professors.
Antifa professors. They want to disrupt society and take away masculinity. I want to come back to the fact that I've been on here for 6 years. I have people that have been following me for 6 years. I was headed into a gym, and a guy stopped me and said, "Joe Oltmann." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I've watched your podcast for 6 years. Thank you." And I was like, "Well, join the fight, brother. Just get out there and do something," and shook my hand. And no matter where I go, I meet people that appreciate the fact of what I say. And keep in mind, the left has said that very clearly that somewhere along the line, what I say is harmful, that I call for violence. Because I call for people to be tried for treason, because it's treasonous. And what they're doing to indoctrinate kids is disgusting. And we say nothing, we remain silent, because you're afraid that you might get beat on like me. They might call Ivan and say, don't go on Susie's podcast, don't go on this popular podcast, because we have to find a way to neutralize Joe Oltmann. He said the quiet part out loud. You guys got to hear it. I just put it up, which means people are watching my podcast on the left, calling people that are supposedly in our camp and saying, hey, don't let anybody go on Joe Oltmann's show. That's the reality. Cool Kids Club get to actually dictate things. And he wasn't expecting what I said today. And then I've known Ivan long enough to know that he's going to be like, oh shit. This isn't Joe's first rodeo. We let this happen. We let this happen. We let people like this go on and be professors and be evil people and join Captain Evil. Put one foot in the good, one in the bad, say that they're doing great things, attack white people, elevate Muslims, persecute Christians, do all the things that are happening. Censor, I look at what's happening on X. I have been massively censored on X. And for what? What did I say? What did I say that's so bad on X? By the way, we got 135 people on X. Normally it's, 1,000, 1,200. So if 135 people, if you guys will literally just hit the little button to share, this will be a little experiment. How many people are you willing to share? So a lot of people will watch it and then I don't want to get beat on by this person or that person. Share it. Massively. Just share. Let's get to 30 or 40 really quick. Let's do that. Let's do the same thing on Rumble so you can see how bad it really is. And again, I shouldn't have to go and talk about censorship, but I do. Why? Perfect example of what he said. And I'm talking about people who want to cut penises off, that are professors, that want to do the things that they do with this trans push and normalizing gender confusion. It should be easy to stand up against. Lots of people are afraid. They'll come to my page and say something, and I was like, go fish, get out of here. And I'll spit a bunch of truth to them, and most of them can't handle it. I know when it's a bot, not a bot, because the bots will stick around longer. The people where I start spitting truth to, they get so angry they just run away. They want America destroyed and replaced. They want replacement theology to happen where Americans are marginalized because they just take over what we have. And not to do anything with it other than destroy it. Look at what happened in Venezuela. And we act like we haven't seen it before. But you know what? You're right. Joe's bad. Russia's bad. China's bad. Everybody except for the United States and the little shitbags that are basically telling you that you got to cut your kid's penis off and they'll take your kid away. Everyone else is bad but them. And you're too foolish to stand up and say something. It's all in the language. And then I get to stand up, and Charlie Kirk was better at it than me. I'm not afraid to cuss. I'm not afraid to take a couple shots at people. I'm not afraid. Am I frustrated? Yes. Am I angry? Nope. Sure not. I want you to see this. This is Rep. Jamal Bowman. This is how you convince someone of an argument without ever having an argument. You say something really stupid, and you get somebody to shake their head and say, okay, social contagion, play it.
Brown people from different backgrounds, the word socialism is weaponized as some kind of, anti-American thing. And, Senator Gillibrand and others seem to have fallen victim to that level of ignorance and miseducation.
The government controls production, your livelihood, complete allegiance to the state. Flock cameras on every corner, education where only 25% of the kids can read. 25%. And yet we are the bad guys. We're the tyrants. We're the ones that, somewhere along the line, we want to have peace and prosperity, and God forbid you have the things that fundamental to this country. And the wealthy elites talk about socialism as if they've even been a part of it firsthand. I mean, these are the ones that basically want us to fight each other so that they can be one of the few that are left after we kill each other. And we haven't figured out yet how to turn our army of men and women against what they're trying to do to steal everything about the ethos of what we represent. Ship them out. Ship them all out. President Trump started doing it. He didn't have the stomach for it. Here's a woman from Cuba talking about Trump and socialism. Pay attention to this, please. Play it.
Do you have an opinion on the job that Trump is doing so far?
Sure. I think he's doing great.
What is he doing great right now?
Everything. Because I came from a communist country, and this country's becoming communist.
Which country did you come from?
Cuba.
You're from Cuba?
Yes.
So what would you say to all the democratic socialists that think that socialism is the answer?
Well,
don't get her started.
Don't get me started.
Go off, Queen.
Go off, Queen? I think you need to wake up and realize what's really going to happen when you have no food, no medical, nothing, because they take it all away from you. Oh, and by the way, you happy little darlings, your children don't belong to you either. They'll belong to the government.
So that's what America has to look forward to.
Oh, yeah.
If they keep going down this path.
Oh, yes.
And do you believe that Trump is trying to stop it from happening?
Of course. But they're trying to stop Trump. And let me put it this way. When you speak the truth, people will stop you. And there was one person that walked around this earth speaking the truth, and he got crucified. And that was?
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. I'm not saying Trump is Jesus, but I'm just saying it's the same old pattern.
We want all the glory, and we don't want to do the work for it. And this isn't an indictment of you at all, just so you know. It's more of an indictment that we fall into these traps. And the traps are simple. I mean, we see what President Trump is doing. And again, I keep coming back to it. I did not expect for Ivan to say what he said today. I'm still processing it, because it's just more validation from the outside that somebody said, oh my gosh, Ivan Raiklin is going on Joe Oltmann's show. It sounds familiar, right? We got Thune out there running his mouth. We got Mike Johnson running his mouth. They both go to President Trump and say, we're looking out for you. He's got 113 appointments that haven't been done, recess appointments. They make sure that they stop that from happening, because God forbid we actually have progress as a country and put people in positions. They want to make sure that these really smart people don't get too much time to fix the problem, because people inside the apparatus will already be slowing it down for them. So this is just another one of those things where they can kind of rattle the cage. I told you what happened when I was in court. They had to put your right hand up. That's my right hand, by the way, it's turned around. And say, I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Does anyone know what ends? It's so help you God. But in court, they got rid of the so help you God. We are silent, and they want to silence me because I tell you not to be silent. Play this. This is what's happening when they try to drop the Pledge of Allegiance in their committee meetings. Go.
Pledge of Allegiance is a very awkward thing in the committee meetings when we're all by Zoom. So I don't see the need at the committee level to repeat the moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I would just get down to business.
I happen to agree with Delegate Green that the whole moment of silence thing sort of freaks me out. That's not our job. And I'm not a fan of the Pledge of Allegiance either.
Then get the hell out. What is the, what do we think is going to happen with the silence? What do you think that the country's going to survive it? You think getting rid of the Pledge of Allegiance is a good idea? The moment of silence for prayer, get rid of it, bad idea. The government says that you will worship the government. People will become gods. This is what Yuval Noah Harari said at the World Economic Forum with Klaus Schwab. They said it. They told you would no longer need elections. You already know the outcome. Slave. I don't even think anybody understands that the active amount of slavery that you're a part of right now. You don't own your home. They own it. And you have another leftist running for sheriff in Vermont. And the fact that these people keep winning is indicative not of people. Because, by the way, Democrat, Republican, Independent, most of our country is just a centrist slight right. Wants rights. Check this out. Here's a candidate for sheriff in Chittenden County, Vermont, touts a anti-ICE agenda. America last. Play it.
Hello, neighbors. Sorry to startle you. My name is Kevin Bloom. I use they, them pronouns, Ward 1. I am running for the office of Sheriff of Chittenden County. I'm running on a platform of eviction reform through eviction prevention to keep children and families housed and get landlords paid to create a safer community for all of us. Thank you so much. I am the only person in Vermont running for sheriff who advocates to abolish ICE. And if elected, I will be the first transgender person in the history of America to be an elected sheriff. Thank you. My name is Kevin Bloom, like a flower, and I'm running in a contested Democratic primary on August 11th. So please vote, and you can remember my name, Bloom like a flower. So good to share a meal with all of you. Thank you.
Yeah. What happens when the majority becomes the fully enslaved? You don't think that's happening? Yeah, I think it is. They're attacking our way of life at every level. And they're taking it over our lives step by step. And we're watching it happen and we're silent. And when we get together, we'll go to the Capitol and we'll protest, and then we'll get mocked by the media because we just haven't gone too far. We haven't gone far enough. We haven't evicted these people. We haven't put on the full armor of God. We haven't been able to speak truth. We haven't done so in such a way that, frankly, we're fighting the devil itself. We just want to let the devil just take whatever wants to take. So you got people hissing at Capitol buildings and barking like dogs and acting like idiots, and we just tolerate it. And again, we get mad and we said, it's all AIPAC's fault. It's all AIPAC's fault. Well, what's AIPAC's fault? And I get on here, we want to talk about specific deals. This is what's happening in Georgia. And, Massie's going to win. He's going to win. Massie's going to win. If they don't steal the election, which they could. But Massie's going to win. And if Massie wins, they're going to have a conversation and get back to the basics. But let's be honest. The America we know right now left us behind. We had a mandate. The American people, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, went to President Trump and said, we're going to make it too big to rig. But they're going to rig downstream at every election across the United States. They're going to capitulate to the fact that President Trump, you can actually be president for another 4 years, knowing you can't run again. And you're a unicorn. Vance isn't going to do what you're going to do. No. Marco Rubio is not going to do what you're going to do. No. And we're not going to solve the fundamental issue, which is the stolen elections in our country that are completely fraudulent, that date back all the way to the 2000s, but probably before that. But at least when you got machines in, you had people that came out and said, this is what's happening. We have all the forensic evidence. If this was a murder trial, guilty, death penalty, go. Treason trial? No. We would have, if we didn't have a rotted judiciary, we would have gotten to the bottom of the 2020 election on November 8th, 10th, 12th. We have the most fundamentally strongest, most capable national security apparatus in the world. And they're going to tell us that the elections weren't stolen, and they put out non-classified reports but hide the classified part behind a wall, and nobody goes to jail? Who's in charge? And to cap it off, here's a public service announcement about being white. If you're white, I am so sorry. These are ads run against real Americans by people who are not Americans. Play it.
What do you mean we're lucky to be white?
It's not luck, it's privilege.
We're privileged that people see us, not a color.
Privilege that we don't get stared at when we walk into the room.
Privilege that we don't get followed by security when we go shopping.
Or pulled over when we're in the wrong neighborhood.
We're privileged because society was set up for us, and our silence keeps it in place.
We're privileged, and that's unfair.
Privileged. You feel privileged when you can't talk to your kids or grandkids? You feel privileged when you're scraping by because you're living off 44 cents on every dollar. Your healthcare costs are over $2,000 a month, and your property tax makes it a rent payment when you pay your home off. Or the fact that if you go on Social Security and you miss one of your property tax payments after your house is paid off, they'll just come and confiscate it from you and push you into a one-bedroom apartment, even though you've paid into that system for over 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. But the very people at the very top, they don't suffer one bit. The tax books are built for them. Everywhere you turn, the system is designed for the haves, for the people that really know how the end is supposed to be borne out. And now you should be ashamed of being white. White guilt. I don't have any white guilt. Do you know what happens? The opposite of white guilt is anger. And what do you think they're trying to accomplish? They want to tell black people that you're oppressed because they destroyed everything about your communities. That's true. And then they want to replace you with Somalis that have an IQ of 50. That's true. Then they want to run drugs, and they want to run guns, and they want to have the school to prison pipeline, and they want to persecute you and take the best off the street as quickly as they possibly can by ways of gun violence and other violence. And then while they're doing that, on the other side, they're taking away Second Amendment rights while telling us, by the way, that you shouldn't have the right to speak. All true. And while all this is going on, they're telling you God doesn't exist unless you're a Muslim or a Jew. And the Christians are the Antichrist, which the opposite is true. There you go. That's what we get. And as I sit here and kind of go back and forth on what the, 162 people watching it, by the way, 4 people shared it on X. 4 people. There's the experiment for you. 162 people, and we're like, yeah, but Joe, they take big shots at you. I'll come watch it. I'll get involved in this deal, but I gotta draw the line somewhere because I don't want them to persecute me. It's funny. I'll see all you guys on my podcast on the website though, or on Roku. Pretty excited about that. All right, some housekeeping here if I can. Just so you guys know, Gemi is in the hospital. She's got a bunch of stuff going on. Jody, thank you for shifting over on Facebook and X and sharing on each. Appreciate that. And thank you for those that did share. I prefer Vance as well. Rubio is a neocon. I think you're probably right. I won't share Trump bashing. Is that what I did? Did I? Okay, Beverly, let's talk about it. Did I trash Trump? Did I? Answer the question. Where did I bash him? Ivan. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second before we pop out. Was Ivan trashing President Trump? See, this is the problem on our side. I'm just going to tell you. Our problem on our side is that we make a character assumption by disagreement, right? In other words, we disagree because President Trump did not fulfill his promise in his light. Now, there are certain things that I agree with. Things have not happened as fast as I want them to happen. But is that bashing President Trump, or is that criticizing President Trump because he wants more done and he thinks that more should be done? Do you think more should be done? Do you think more should be done? And President Trump, by the way, has these little parrots in his ear. And everyone is defensive of President Trump. I got a shirt on, see? It says you missed. I don't know if you saw that. So I just want you to consider it. Negative criticism. Yeah, he does have negative criticism. Does. Positive. That is absolutely true. So do I. 6 years I've gone through this. When an outside attorney called up the Trump campaign attorneys and said, your number one witness is Joe Oltmann, they acted like they had seen a ghost. In the case that I'm involved in, they act like they saw a ghost. Like, are you kidding? He's like, have you talked to Joe? They had never once talked to me. But the same people that talked to Ivan Raiklin are over there talking to the attorneys and doing what they can to slander me. But these are the same people, by the way, that took money from me over 6 years. Some of them stole money from me. I have a settlement, a judgment right now because somebody didn't pay me back. And you guys will say, I can't believe that you went and you sued Mike Lindell. No, I can't believe that you think it's okay that he could take my money and had me work for free for 3 years and ran around the company and took his company public and did all this stuff. And somewhere along the line, I'm the bad guy. And by the way, I've still supported Mike Lindell. But this is what I get. Oh, Joe did this, Joe did that. Joe didn't do jack shit to hurt a damn person at all. But the radical left and the weak, pathetic, controlled opposition on the right, they all came together. They're all one. They're all the same. And if I'm wrong, then why am I sitting here having a conversation with you and going through all the things that I've gone through? And Ivan was on here and was told, don't come on, don't go on and see Joe. Don't share negative criticism. Why? Iron sharpens iron. We have to. We have to speak the truth. And I think President Trump is amazing. I think he's amazing. I think you'd be hard pressed to find another person other than me, many others, but I mean, there are some others that are willing to stand up. Now he knows how to play this little political game and he can play it and stomach it. I can't. But see, I wonder if you guys can continue to have these conversations and not get mad at each other. And how are you able to do that and still get mad at Ivan for having a difference of opinion? And I'm not telling you I agree with him. I do agree with some things. He should have point blank given everyone a pardon for J6. The fact that he didn't is problematic. All the people that ran Eric Coomer all the way down should be in prison right now. Do I think it's happening? Yes. Is it happening too slowly? Yes, it is. And it's emboldened the people that frankly have done horrible things to our people. Trump is only one guy. He has the entire swamp to deal with. I agree with you. The only way you get rid of the deep state, get rid of the terrorists in these countries. I agree with you. I mean, see, we can agree on a lot of things. A lot of things you're saying are true. All right. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. Make sure you go over there and give us a 5-star review. Do all the stuff to, make us go viral. And let's pray for Gammy, shall we? Pray for Gammy. Pray for Gammy and Roku. I have to add that to the deal. Roku. Go over, give us a 5-star review. Give us a thumbs up on your way out. If you're on YouTube, I got a call yesterday. They said, hey, I shared this thing for YouTube, and it literally shut down my ability to share. And I was like, yeah. So they don't like me, these people. They don't like me a lot. It's pretty crazy. Also, 89517, you can text freedom to 89517. We'll send you a text message when we go live. And if you want to get on the email list, go to the website, untamednation.com, and drop your email in there. I won't spam you. I just sent you a bunch of stuff, and I might send you a couple deals on guns if you want it, if you like guns at all. Other than that, Let's pray it out, yeah? Father God, thank you for, excuse me. Take my hat off. Father God, thank you for the time that we had together. Thank you for influencing Ivan so he could come on. Thank you for his perspective. And thank you, Father, for putting people in the gap so that they can stand against the evil that's trying to consume our country. Father, I am grateful for the vision and for the guidance that you've given me and so many others around me. And Father, I just ask that you give us the ability to see clearly what's happening in the future. And, Gammy is sick right now, so Father, if you could just, whatever's ailing her, if you could heal her. She has much more work to do. Thank you, Father, for, I want to boldly ask that we could, in the name of Jesus, get rid of all the voting machine apparatuses that steal our voice. So machine ballots, or mail-in ballots, the machines, go to hand count, paper ballot, in person. Father, I think that if we did that, it would eliminate a lot of tension, and not up front, but it could eliminate a lot of tension that puts us in the driver's seat for having the people's voice be heard. And that will lead to restoration. There's just so many things that need to happen before we can get to a place where we can actually have peace. But Father, I just ask you to give us the tools that we can know at least what path we're on, and that we can set aside petty differences and really focus in on doing what's right by our brothers and sisters. Father, we ask these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Pancreatitis and possible gallstones, I saw that. I'm just reading some comments. All right. Hey, I got to go. Thank you. I appreciate you guys very much. We got a hockey game tomorrow. It should be fun, but all is good. Thanks for joining up with me today, and thanks for a little bit of truth, more truth. Go ahead and share it if you like us, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real, no more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Tame nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave